Alright everyone, time to go through another deck tour today. We're working with the Crow Tarot by MJ Cullinane. I hope that is how you pronounce it. Anyway, I got this as a gift a couple of years ago from my husband. Very kindly, he knew how much I love crows. So naturally, you know, the people in your life that know you read tarot and you like something else, they will find you, guaranteed, the tarot version of the thing that you like and like wherever it intersects. So we have a family of crows living in our backyard. Always loved them, fed them. They're fantastic creatures, like beyond the spiritual element that they represent. And did you know that they have the largest brain to something body ratio of any bird? So that's part of why they're so intelligent. They literally do have the brain mass to allow for, you know, more complex interactions and thoughts and whatnot. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. We're here to talk about the tarot deck that was built around the Crow Tarot. So I was just opening the box. As you can see, like most decks, it comes with a nice little booklet. And inside the booklet, you're going to find a little bit about how it was created. And again, the creator of this deck speaks about how they too find crows extremely spiritual and special to them. And then, you know, they put a lot of love into the creation of this deck. And you can tell that because like creating any deck, it's not an easy thing in the slightest. So it takes a lot of energy to put yourself out there like that. All of the meanings are within this little deck. I mean, I wouldn't hang my hat on any insert that comes with the deck just because there's just not enough. But if you have a little experience, even if you don't, it's you won't really like this will be a great guidebook for you if you need kind of like the basic meanings for things. But if you ever want to read professionally using this deck, I would recommend you know, having more resources for that. And it has a beautiful little box, nice and soft. So the deck itself is a really good size. This one, I find it really hard to shuffle, like riffle style, yeah, or I'm not even sure if I use the right word for that. I'm more like this kind of, that was a weird gesture to make on camera. But anyway, let's go through some of the features. So so we have the majors. So I put this all into order. I use this deck not as often as I'd like to, but I do use it frequently enough that it was all shuffled up in the box. So I put all back in order, and I'm just going to show you quickly some of the cards. I like not just the size and the design, but I really like how some of the cards, there's variation in the color. I'm not sure if you can see really well there, but you see some of the cards are a little bit more yellowed, a little bit more browned and grayed than the others. It just gives us a really nice feel, and it kind of goes with what seems kind of like a mixed media style of illustration. At least that's what it reminds me of. I don't know art. So some of these, obviously there's a lot of crow imagery. I really like the High Priestess in this deck. A lot of these don't really have enough of the symbols from the Smith Rider-Waite to rely on, so you definitely want to use an intuitive feel for this. Either you know the meanings, or you know, you can sit with the cards long enough to feel what's coming off of them. So they kept a lot of the important elements of the card, right? Like you can see for the Hermit, for example, the lantern is there, the star is there, like that sense of loneliness, the snowy part, that's all there. One thing I really liked about this version of the moon card, it has the shadow of a crow on the face of it. I thought that was really nice. And the rest are very, very similar. It's hard to do human themed stuff with animals. I find that is always a challenge with animal decks. So here, you know, we have some of as many of the features of the, you know, original or the judgment card as we have come to know it most easily. Got some resurrection here with the skeletons of the birds and the red cross on the white backdrop. And then that concludes kind of the majors. So the minors are also fairly similar in style. Trying to make sure I don't move off camera too much. But here we have like the Two of Wands, for example. Yeah, that kind of, there's that, a lot of it. It does capture the same energy as like and I always compare things to a control deck like Smith Rider-Waite or Rider-Waite. I just always called it Smith Rider-Waite, so I'm sorry if that upsets you, but that's just my habit. But you know, that traditional deck, that's the one a lot of us kind of learned on or were exposed to or just familiar with the imagery just because it's everywhere. So if you have that already kind of banked in your mind, then a lot of these are super congruent. I really like the Five of Wands here. Each one's like a different color. I don't know, it reminds me of like public school when we got to play with those sticks. I don't know, was that something only I had a memory of? Anyway. Yeah, so very good imagery. Like you get what these cards are talking about. It's like the Ten of Wands. There's that massive burden. Page of Wands. Page of Wands is it's always like my messenger card. I'm sure it is for a lot of other people, so I don't mean like just my meaning. But this is a very common one, is that, oh, here's a message, and the crow's mouth is like gaping open. And the Knights, I mean, they just put a horse in there. The Queen, again, when you have people, traditionally like people cards, it's hard to transplant animals in there, especially if it's just one that's coming through the entire deck, like a crow deck. Then the crow is going to be in every single card. This kind of captures it pretty well. Moving through the swords, got the blindfolded crow there. That one, it's very clearly a Three of Swords. I think it's probably the easiest one to do. I mean, a heart being pierced. It's pretty easy to get what that means. Four of Swords. 5, 6, 7, 8. We didn't even have to look at much about like the number to see definitely what this card is. I have the Ten of Swords here, swords piercing the crow. So our Page of Swords, Knight, our Queen, King. Now we look at, and we're on to the cups. 2 of Cups. 3, that's your experience, very good. 4, yep, nailed it. 5, yep, definitely. These are all like excellent iterations, and that's part of why I really love this deck, is because you can kind of slip into it, because you have that familiarity. I work with the original, like the Smith Rider-Waite one so much for professional purposes, that when you start working with a different deck, for whatever reason, maybe just because you feel like it, or if you just want a little change, sometimes you can get thrown off. I would have liked to see this one not on land. On the bottom here, there's some sort of ground, and that doesn't really seem on theme, but Ace of Pentacles, Two Pentacles, that again, that'll be really hard. Crows can't juggle, so just kind of get that lemniscate in there. Three of Pentacles, I'm not really picking, like this one is a little bit more, bit dimmer in terms of like mirroring the meaning of it, visually at least. This one seems a little bit funny, just holding it kind of like it's got boobs. I know, super mature. Five of Pentacles. Oh yeah, you can barely see that there's two sick or injured or, you know, just not super upbeat birds down here. Pentacles are always tricky to visually nail the meaning for. Got the 10 here, that one's pretty good. And our Page of Pentacles, our Knight, our Queen, and finally our King of Pentacles. So there it is. That's a quick tour of the deck itself. I just made you sit through all the pictures. Don't worry, we're not done. There's some, when you're lucky, sometimes the little books you get with your decks, the author will make a spread that you can use them for. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna do a quick, it's called the Crow Tarot Spread, and it's kind of similar in ways to the Celtic Cross, just some of the meanings. There are some things that I can already tell might be a challenge, but I'm gonna do this for myself. It's just kind of a general reading, but it's 8 cards, and that'll just demonstrate, you know, how this deck feels to kind of work with and do a spread with. So okay, all shuffling is done. So the first card we draw is for present, it's like your heart energy, your inner self. Got the Emperor. Okay, so that makes sense. I have a lot to manage and oversee. A lot of times I have to suspend like how I feel so that others can be satisfied, the other people can be served first. And that's often what happens when someone's pushed in or just finds themselves in a leadership role. Present energy is the Hermit. Gosh, I don't know if it's the full moon that we're going through right now. I was talking to someone, an astrologer who is super wise, and she said something about a node and like how it's gonna mess with you. So when we're talking about present energy, this for me makes absolute sense, because I just I feel like nothing's happening and I have no desire to do anything except just sit and think and just do nothing. But I know that really can't be. So what's holding me back or helping me is coming in from card position 3, and that's a Judgment reversed. What's holding me back or helping me? Oh man. And this is the trouble I have with this spread, is that there's a couple card positions where it's like, what is hope or fear? What is good or bad? We could take either meaning from this. So what I would probably do in the future, and it wouldn't make it look anything like a crow spread, I'd do like an A and a B, so like good and bad, so I could have a little clarity on that. Because I could take a lot of things from like what's holding you back or helping you from Judgment reversed, but maybe I can get some clues from the other cards. So I'm gonna go with hopes and fears. That's card position 4. Okay. So some sort of ethical dilemma, or like, what do I hope? And again, that's another one, like a fear, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I following my best and highest purpose? Like, do I hope that, or do I fear that I'm not? Like, is that the same thing? I don't know. Anyway, card position 5 is for advice or grounding energy. So what should I do here? So Nine of Cups there. I guess the advice is to just accept the way things are right now. because I've got it pretty good. Maybe I'm wanting more than I really need to want at this time. I'm not sure. Lesson from the past is card position 6. This is supposed to be kind of like a, sorry, it's supposed to be more like a wing type look. This is supposed to have like a slightly crow-ish look to it. 10 of Cups, lessons from the past. Don't delude myself. Just because like I think that there's a reality that's coming, it doesn't make it true. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but in my head it does. Like you can lull yourself into a false sense of security by thinking everything's going to be okay. You can't rely on that. You have to do the things. So a lot of times for me, the 10 of Cups isn't always like the most positive family harmony card. It's kind of like a delusion, like it's an illusion card. We have what appears to be like a, well, it looks more like a crystal ball in one of the other decks, and that's just come to mean a possible trap. So it doesn't always mean that, but for me, this means like that self-illusion. Like I've fabricated something for myself when I really needed to put effort into making something real, for example. All right, card position 7 relates to external openings or obstacles. Again, who knows what this will mean? Page of Pentacles, okay. Fucking Page of Pentacles. The thing with pages, especially this one, it's super subtle. You gotta look to what's going on around it. So if it's sitting next to here, what I'm feeling that it is an obstacle I don't think I've learned, or I don't know what I don't know, is what I'm kind of getting from that. I think I have a bit more learning to do. Like any plans that I kind of have in my mind, I still have to do some more mental labor to kind of bring those forward a bit, including kind of learning about some of the things that maybe I'm not aware of. All right, and the final card for this is the possible future outcome, Wheel of Fortune reversed. Great. Okay, so again, this was just a general reading. I didn't really put as much energy into the outcome as I'd want to, or as I normally would, like for myself on my weekly reads or something, but I guess we just have to see how it all plays out. It doesn't really look like luck's on my side right now, but I think that really comes down to the fact that there is no such thing as pure luck. Well, maybe there is. I don't know. This is going to open up a whole other philosophical discussion, but sometimes luck isn't what you can rely on. You can only rely on yourself. And I just have to remember, at the end of the day, the Emperor is accountable. Doesn't matter what else happens. At the end of the day, the buck stops there. So that's kind of what I need to hang on to. And just kind of push through the challenges and just be like, well, Emperor never gives up and neither am I. Anyway, I hope you like this tour of the Crow deck. If you've been contemplating picking one up for yourself, it's not very expensive. You can get it, I think he got his for me around the corner at a metaphysical shop, because I'm very lucky I live near one, which isn't good for my deck addiction. But you can also, I think, get it on like Etsy or Amazon, so very easy to come by. I'm just gonna bring the box over again so you can see that's what you're looking for. Fantastic deck, very easy to read with. I love the weight and just the feel of the cards. Fantastic. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back soon and see what deck I'm gonna go through next.